Hey witches, mystics, manifestors, or people who just like tarot. Welcome to my channel. I'm Ray Luna. For today's tarot reading, we're going to be looking at Will You Be Famous? So for group number 1 here, we have the 11th house. For group number 2, we have the 8th house. And for group number 3, we have the 10th house. So take your time and pause the video if you need more time to choose a card. And when you're ready, head to the description or comment section to click on the correlating timestamp to receive your reading. Thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy this reading. Hey group number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the 11th house card, and with this card here, the first thing I'm seeing is we can see the two women together bonding. So that makes me think of fame received through connections, knowing people, building ties, and what it says here on this card, it says friendship, groups, tribe, the future, collective creation. So this is like finding people who are like-minded, networking, trying to create those connections if you don't have any. So you're going to definitely be famous through your connections and people you know. So you're going to know the right people. You're going to be there, the right place, the right time, by fate, so that you can become more well-known in your field, the type of work you're doing. This doesn't even have to be like traditional things you think of as, like, famous, like athletes, singers, actors, right? This could be anything. You could be famous in anything where you're building relationships and networking. I also see here as well, this could be mentioning something specifically in your astrological chart here, because 11th house, of course, that will be in reference to that. So maybe looking at your own chart, there is a prominent placement there or something that will give you more information to your particular situation. So for instance, let's say if you have the planet Sun in the 11th house, that could mean recognition through friendships or gaining more attention, more support with your relationships. And that's the main thing I'm picking up here. I also feel like it's possible that even though you could attract fame opportunities through connections, you have to be careful still. This is saying not to trust everyone who is offering you something. Do your homework, research people who seem to be trying to give you something, because not everyone doing that is going to have your best interest in mind, but you definitely will receive recognition through building those relationships, maybe even moving to a city, because in a city there's a lot more people to connect to. So if you don't hit it off with one person, there's always going to be more people around you, and also more people looking for those type of opportunities to reach those goals in a city versus like a smaller town, something like that, okay? So I'm going to shuffle some more cards and see if you will be famous. So we have the Engineer and Child Divine. So you guys definitely could get fame through working towards new ideas, new creations, like how an engineer is always building things, thinking of solutions to problems so people's lives are easier. You guys could invent something that makes people's lives more enjoyable. You also could invent something that makes people connect more to their inner child here with Child Divine. So this doesn't have to just be like inventions, like machinery. This could be creating art, creating any type of product or service that's going to help people feel more childlike. It also could be possible you are helping children, or you could create something for people where there's not a lot of options for it. So you're opening things up so people will have more accessibility, especially children. Like maybe there is something that's more so only available for adults that you're making easy for children to access. Like maybe, like if they were to break their arm, you make a specific cast for children, or if they didn't have hearing, you'd make a specific hearing aid for children, like something like that. Hope that makes sense. But you guys could gain fame in that way as well. Okay, so I'm going to shuffle another card. Will group number 1 be famous? Okay, courage. So you're also more likely to become famous when you're being courageous. So yeah, like doing something new, doing something different to help people either connect to their inner child, their childlike qualities, like being more, fun, creative, imaginative, or this could also be, standing up for children, helping children in some way. Like if you're a child, as I said, like who lost their hearing, making a special device for them, or maybe standing up for the rights of children, or people who have been harmed as children and now have, trouble as adults because of that. So you could also gain fame through helping people find their community as well. So not only will you gain fame through connections, you can gain fame through helping other people find connections. So with engineer and friendship, maybe you make an app so people can more easily connect to friends and family. A lot of social media platforms are like that, but maybe you're gonna do something similar. Or maybe you'd gain fame through building communities so people can play sports together, people can create together. With engineering, maybe you help, kids find out how to learn how to use technology in a more safe way, in a way that helps them prepare for their future. Something like that, but also courage to stand up for what you believe in, courage to go after what you want. So maybe if you guys want to be famous and you feel like you don't have that happening, it could be because you're holding yourself back and you're not having courage to truly go after what you want. You have to be brave and take a risk to make this happen. As I said too, like with networking, maybe you're scared to have bonds with people and reach out. This is saying go ahead and do that, even if you get rejection. The more you're practicing talking with people, going to events, doing things of that nature, the more likely you're going to find people who are similar to you, who have similar goals, or maybe even an opportunity to change your life in that way. But I feel like you guys will be famous when you're taking a lot more initiative towards connecting with people and putting yourself out there, being brave, taking more risk. So if you want that to happen, there seems to be a lot more effort on your part that is needed for that to happen. So I'm going to shuffle some tarot and see what else wants to come out. Will group number 1 be famous? Four of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles, Four of Wands, the Magician. And I'll put 2 more. Page of Cups, Eight of Cups. So something I'm seeing here is for you guys to be famous, I think it's definitely a possibility, but this answer is more so going to be a maybe, okay? Because you have to get rid of creative limitations here. You have to walk away from what's holding you back creatively, whether that's negative beliefs, whether that's having to maybe make some temporary sacrifices, like, being a creative person. Sometimes we have to take sacrifices to make our dreams come true. That means maybe not always having tons of money rolling in because we're trying to make our dream come true, right? So I feel like there's something here where it's saying you have to evaluate how you're approaching things and change how you're doing that a little bit. It's okay to shake things up and try a different approach. So being more brave, walking away from things that are holding you back, limitations. I feel like a lot of this is like you guys have to take action more. You have to believe in yourself more. It's also possible this could be due to, like, is it worth it to you, right? So some of you guys might have wanted to be famous like early on in life, but as you're getting older, you're changing your mind. You're realizing, wow, that is not all it's cracked out to be, right? So you guys could be having an opportunity to choose if you want to take that sacrifice, take a risk to maybe have something happen, or if you want to focus on building your own stability, making your own life happy, comfortable, without the recognition or approval of others. I do think, though, there's a possibility of something taking off because you have a lot of positive cards here. With a Four of Wands, the Magician, making something very happy for yourself, achieving your dream, celebrating at the end, celebrating your accomplishments, your ability to succeed through your own willpower and efforts. But yeah, it definitely has to come through your own drive, your own ability. This isn't something where it's just going to fall into your lap. Like, for instance, with networking, you could get that success through networking, but you need to go to those places to meet those people in the first place, and then something might happen. So people can help you, but a lot of it will be pushed through your own effort, if that makes sense. So hopefully it does. But that was your reading, group number 1. I hope you guys liked it. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments, what part of the reading resonated with you. If you did like it, consider liking the video, subscribing. I always appreciate that. And I hope to see you guys in the next reading. Bye. Hey, group number 2, welcome to your reading. You chose the 8th house, and what I see here for will you be famous is, if you were to be famous, I feel like you guys are going to have a lot of success with things that might be either unusual, maybe a little mysterious. So this could be talking about occult practices. So that could be occult practices specific to a culture you come from. This could be like tarot readings, psychic abilities. This also could be things like UFOs, aliens, cryptids, like something like Bigfoot. Like, you guys could get fame through like unusual things or things people might not be familiar with unless they were raised with it themselves. So I definitely think this is a really fun group already. You guys could also help connect people or help people push through trauma or intense life experiences here, because the 8th house has to do with transformation, death in some ways. So you also could help people or get famous off of helping people with finances. Like, think of finance gurus, people who help people manage their money better. That's also something I can see as well. I also think it's possible in your own particular chart, because the 8th house relates to astrology. You guys should consider looking into your own chart and seeing if you have any prominent placements within your 8th house. So for example, if you have Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, in the 8th house, you could have luck and expansion in this area, but you also could have expansion sometimes with more difficult things there. Of course, this is something where you would have to look at the rest of your chart to figure that out, but I think that's just something important to note for you guys if you're interested in that. So I'm going to shuffle some more cards and see, will group number 2 be famous? So we have Shapeshifter and Healer. Yeah, that definitely seems to be on point with what I'm saying. Shapeshifter, you help people transform. So this also makes me think of someone who's famous for making people transform. So you could help people like with their hair, their makeup. And this is like multiple fields. So you could be a makeup artist, like helping people prepare for their wedding day by making them, more beautiful, more attractive, more confident in themselves. I'm also thinking here too with Shapeshifter, I'm thinking of the movie industry. While there is a lot of CGI, so there could be something like doing CGI, It's also possible you could do special effects makeup, transforming people through prosthetics, makeup, hair, costume design, fashion, changing people from, one perception to a whole nother one. Like maybe you make people look completely different with these transformations, whether it's for entertainment or it's for something more personal to improve their life. So really awesome messages so far. And also, as I said, the eighth house has to do with like transitions, deaths, stuff like that. In healing, you can really help people heal issues they have in this area. So even if you're not physically transforming someone in some way, I feel like this is talking about giving people the tools to transform their own life, whether that's through giving people financial information, teaching people how to use certain occult practices like spell work. This also, like I said, could be something relating to a culture you're from, specific practices there that could help you and other people improve their lives. But it is something that's not going to connect with everyone, but whatever that is, it really will make a great impact in people's lives. Like you could have repeat customers. You could even be possibly interviewed locally, like on a news station, a local newspaper, some sort of local media. So yeah, I'm going to put some more cards down. Will group number 2 be famous? Affection. So you also could potentially be famous because you could help people have more self-love. With the 8th house, this is making me think of someone who also could be like a couples therapist, a matchmaker, someone who helps with like weddings, events, planning, anything to do with this, because you're helping people find affection, you're helping people find supports. So they're going to be getting a lot of love from you, which transforms their life and allows them to love and give affection to other people. I also feel here this could be fame like on social media as well, because it's something unusual, or if it's not something like completely on your own through social media, if it is through like an industry or a more legacy or traditional avenue, it could be more low-key or undercover in some way, because it might be a little different, or like the way you're doing things will be more impactful, transformative. Another thing I'm thinking of too, with shapeshifter, this is someone who can transform the way they're perceived. So it kind of makes me think of, someone like RuPaul. They are drag queens, so they can transform themselves with makeup, hair, and it involves a lot of fashion, style, performance. So that's like the type of thing I'm picking up. So I'm going to put down some tarot and see what else comes through. Will group number 2 be famous? The Knight of Wands, the Tower, the Chariot. I'll do 2 more. And get the card down straight. So yeah, with these cards here, I definitely feel like this is going to be something, like, it will be very impactful, powerful, but it's like the people who are really going to resonate with it, like it's going to be more so, you have niche community, right? So it's not going to resonate with everyone, but the people it does resonate with is going to be super impactful. So let's say if you are someone who does stuff with movies or shows, whatever you create, it's going to have like a following that maybe doesn't happen when you first release something, but over the years it could have like a cult following or a small following who really likes that and connects with it like years later. Or the people who like it currently, if it hits off currently, what you create, what you do, it's going to have fans that are really dedicated to what you're doing. And also, whatever you're doing is encouraging people to be more bold and put themselves out there in different types of ways. So, whatever it is you're doing, if you are to be famous here, I think it's a possibility very strongly with these cards, but it has to be something where it has to connect with a specific group of people. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay, because the people who are going to love you for this are really going to support you. I also feel like this has to be something you're passionate about. You can't just do this to chase fame and fortune. Those things will come as you're working towards this with true passion. Like, this is going to be something that's your calling, right? Your life purpose. So I want you guys not to worry about trying to be famous or anything like that. This is something that will come to you if it's meant to be, right? But I do see here as well, if you became famous here with the Tower card, it could shake up a lot of things for you. Maybe by not being so focused on fame, even though it's a strong possibility here, it's like that would mess you up. Because again, it would interrupt your passion. It would interrupt you from connecting with the specific people you have to. You can't have everyone be your fan, and you have to be okay with that. Because this is something like really unique, really transformative. I can't stress that enough. And here too, it's like slowly over time, your work is building, and it has a massive payoff with the Chariot. Success that leads you to setting out and having a new life, new adventures. I also feel too, if you guys have like no idea what I'm talking about here, you're like, what? Like, what is this talking about? It's possible all this could happen through something spontaneous or something you were never planning at all in the first place. That's why it's kind of like this will happen, especially when you're not focused on it happening, because, well, maybe you weren't at all in the beginning in the first place. But that was your reading, group number 2. I hope you guys liked this reading. Please let me know what part of the reading resonated with you. If this reading did, consider liking it, subscribing if you haven't yet. I always appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hey, group number 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose the 10th house, and for Will You Be Famous, the first thing I'm seeing here is you guys could have been drawn to this card because there's something about you where you're really drawn to building a career, building wealth and legacy for yourself. And even if you don't want to be famous, I feel like it's a strong possibility that you guys naturally attract a lot of people towards you. People want to talk to you, even if you're not interested, even if you have, resting bee face, right? People say, you might look intimidating, but you still somehow attract people to talk to you in different situations, okay? You just have that aura, that vibe where people want to connect with you or they want to talk to you. It's also possible here too, with the 10th house, you guys could be called to look at your astrological chart, because the 10th house talks about, in astrology, everything having to do with your career, your reputation, and fame. So, of course, that would make sense for this question, for this reading. So, for example, I myself have 3 placements in the 10th house. I have Mars, Mercury, and Saturn in my 10th house. So maybe you guys have something there that will give you more information for your situation more specifically. And another quick example, let's say if you also have Mercury in your 10th house, that could mean like fame through communication, using your voice, intelligence. So it's very interesting what you can find out when you do that. So let's shuffle more cards. Will group number 3 be famous? So with these cards here, I feel like it's possible if you guys were to be famous, it's going to be through making yourself kind of seem like a hero in some way. Maybe you sacrifice a lot. People feel like you have a story that's powerful. Maybe you have overcome a lot in your life. So if you were to be famous, people are going to connect through your life experiences. Maybe they feel like, okay, I also connect with what this person went through in my childhood. Like maybe you have a story of what you went through during your school years, or maybe you had a rough upbringing in some way. Something about you being famous is going to relate to being relatable. Like, it's not going to be a story where it's like, okay, you were already born rich, you were born with a silver spoon. I feel like your story will be more so about, okay, I sacrificed and worked really hard to get where I needed to be, because these cards are very powerful here with martyr, child wounded, and slave. So it's like, at times you might have had to been a slave to your work, tied to your job, or tied to your craft, but that will pay off in some way, or give you some sort of benefit, and people can see, wow, like this person deserves the success. This person deserves having a legacy and wealth because of everything they have put in. For some of you too, with child wounded, that could also be like, even if something negative happened to you, you could receive fame or attention because of how you overcame those negative things. Like, you guys could even sell a book, right? Like a New York Times bestseller about how you overcame a tragedy in your life, or something about your story is overcoming everything, like the martyr. That's like sacrificing yourself to a cause, right? But it's like you're coming out the other end of that with some sort of success, or connecting other people to how they can overcome their problem, like how you did. All right, I'm going to shuffle another card here. Okay, so we have refinement. So you guys could get famous off of practicing a craft over and over and over again till it's just right, constantly fixing things, constantly tuning things. And also, someone I can think of here too is someone who's really famous is Michael Jackson, someone who spent hours and hours having to work at something. This is also something too where I know with Michael Jackson's story, it makes me think of child wounded too, because they had a difficult upbringing from what I remember hearing. A lot of difficulty kind of losing out on childhood, not really having a childhood, and then becoming famous so young. So like, you guys could have a situation where it's like, if you were to be famous, it might not necessarily be good for you in some ways. Even if people feel like, oh yeah, you deserve it, you work so hard, it might not be something good for you. But something I find in common with Michael Jackson and what I'm picking up in this reading is like, that's something that took them years and years. They were so skilled because of the amount of hours they had to do something, but it wasn't really necessarily from, a good thing. It might have been something difficult that wounded them. So this could be for you guys, like talking about your wound and how you overcome it. Or even if you have a gift, it could be from something that might have wounded you in some way. So I hope that makes sense. Oh, and another thing I'm thinking of, you guys could naturally already have attracted many opportunities to be famous, but you might say no to it because you know about like the dark sides of fame, right? So with these cards here, it's like a lot of sacrifice, a lot of not having control over your life in a lot of ways, even if it's like big success or a lot of money, a lot of recognition, from like the example I just gave, that might not be really worth it because you don't really have control over your own life. It's like being a puppet on a string, no control. So you might have rejected things like that because you prefer to remain, low key. You don't want a lot of attention on you, even though you always are getting that. So I'm going to put down some tarot. Will group number 3 be famous? can never get these cards straight. Okay, so with these cards here, yes. So this is interesting to me because I feel like you guys could attract more opportunities for fame, fortune, but you're the type of person who's going to prefer to not be directly in the spotlight. So you're going to benefit by like being someone who writes scripts. I also pick up a lot too on like writing. And with the example I gave relating to myself, it is possible you guys have something similar to that because I keep picking up like books, writing. Even with songs, like songwriting, you might do better with something not as like in the front. You're doing better when you're like backstage helping people put on the show, right? Kind of like that book example too. Like if you're an author, I feel like you could get a lot of fame as well, but it's not something like as crazy if you were famous in other ways. So I definitely think there's a possibility here, but it feels like from you would have to change your perspective on how you felt towards fame or attention, because I feel like you guys, you might know that's something you can use for your own benefit, but you might not actually want that. Or it could be like, if you really do want that, if you got it, it would not bring you happiness. It might be a hinder to you, even with all the rewards. Because then it's like, okay, you have to deal with, crazy people. You have to deal with having to act a certain way for your brand, right? Okay, like as someone who works in marketing, like branding's not just for companies, it's used for people as well. That's what people, don't understand about this stuff. Like it can be really draining to have to put on a show all the time, even when you're not performing. So I feel like you guys definitely have the potential, or already have had many chances to be famous, but something about this wouldn't make you happy. Or if you got it, it would have to be something where you're not getting crazy attention like someone like Michael Jackson, because that would be too much for you. You would not be happy. I also think too, if you were to work with people, I see here, it might be better for you if you wanted to seek fame to do so with other people, not just yourself. Because if it's just yourself too, it makes all the focus on you. So this could be like doing something in a community, writing a book, maybe with other people, you and someone else writing a book together. Like there's something here where it's like you don't want all the focus on you, or you're helping give support to other people who their main job is being in the center, but you're like, I don't want that, or that's not good for me. So definitely interesting, and definitely a chance for you to be famous, but like it's up to you guys to decide. Would that really make you happy? I don't think it will here. Or you might change your mind once you start gaining traction with all this luck and your own unique story, what you're doing, you could draw that into you and suddenly decide, hey, I'm going to walk away from this. This isn't worth pursuing anymore. And if you do, sorry, not to sound like a broken record, but if you do, it's going to be something like low key and not front and center. So that was your reading, group number 3. I hope you guys liked this reading. Let me know what resonated with you the most, what part of this reading. If you did like it, consider liking the video and subscribing if you haven't yet. I always appreciate that. And I hope to see you guys in the next reading. Bye.